and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lawrencia and this is Bantz with Lawrencia. How are you all doing? How are you enjoying your weekend? If you live in Great Britain, you know that we are going through it. We have a new Prime Minister, Liz Truss. She also met with Queen Elizabeth II before her passing, and it was a beautiful picture. The Queen was smiling, and it was really beautiful to see her at the age of 96 still active and happy. So people thought everything was okay until we received I think it was on Wednesday that the Queen was not feeling fine. It made headlines, and I think everybody was panicky because of her age and because they made that announcement. They made it public, so people thought this is going to be serious, and it turned out to be serious. The Queen died at the age of 96 after reigning for over 70 years. And we have a new king now, King Charles III. So we are going through a whole bunch of transitioning from Boris Johnson to Liz, from Queen Elizabeth to King Charles. So it's been a lot. And with the passing of the Queen, a whole lot has been going on Twitter. And a Nigerian living in the US, a professor, her name is Uju Anya. She set the whole internet and Twitter on fire with her tweets when she said, let me get that tweet for you. I heard the chief monarch of a thieving, raping, genocidal empire is finally dying. May her pain be excruciating. So this was when it was announced that the Queen was sick, and Uju made this tweet. Obviously that was before her death, and somebody said what a hateful thing to say. And she replied by saying, I only wish my hatred had the effect on her that her monarchy had on my people. So Uju went ahead. Uju was tweeting. Her fingers were happy. She was happily tweeting. And people started criticizing Uju because they said, this is a dying woman. This is a grandmother. This is a great grandmother. This is the people's grandmother, basically. Why would you say such a thing about her? Uju went ahead to say that if anyone expects me to express anything but disdain for the monarch who supervised the government that sponsored the genocide that massacred and displaced half of my family, and the consequences of which those alive today are still trying to overcome, you can keep wishing upon a star. So Uju obviously is pained. This is a tweet that was done in bad taste. Like, freedom of speech. Everybody has a right to say what they want to say, but the way you deliver certain message matters a lot. If she had come out and mentioned the Queen and not being that verbally abusive and wishing death on somebody who is already dying, who is 96 years old, and who could pass on at any minute, it's kind of done in a poor taste. Although she had a point about what she was talking about, the Biafran War and all that, but at the same time, the way it was delivered was, in a poor taste. Piers Morgan attacked her, Jeff Bezos attacked her, the whole of Twitter was on fire, Daily Mail carried the story, and even her university came out to, disassociate themselves from her tweet because she's a professor, and they said this is not in our view, this does not represent us and all that. I started thinking about this whole thing. I started thinking about Biafran War. I started thinking about who to blame, because a lot of people said Nigeria got her independence in 1960, and the Biafran War happened from 1967 to 1970s. So some people said, how are we still blaming British for what happened after the independence? There's a documentary on Netflix that kind of documented the British Empire invading Africa, invading Nigeria, and that it kind of gave me an insight of what life was before the colonization of Nigeria. People would think, oh, this is done in a poor taste. This is not supposed to be like this. Why is she attacking somebody who is about to die? But I think in Nigeria or in Africa, we settle scores when somebody is dying or when somebody is about to die or when somebody is about to be buried. That is when you hear they've not paid their dues, they've not done this, they were owing this amount of money even before you bury that person. So culturally, because this is why cultures are different. This is why you have to understand people's culture. I am not saying what she said was in any way right, but in the context of culture, I think she felt that this is something that she needs to say before this person die or before this person is buried, because that is the culture. Was it done in bad taste? Absolutely. There has been a whole bunch of reaction about her tweet and people condemning Jeff Bezos about what he has said about her. Iron Co-Pilot said, Dr. Uju Anya did not colonize Africa. Dr. Uju Anya did not kidnap or buy millions of Africans and ship them across the Atlantic. Dr. Uju Anya did not commit genocide in Africa. I'm not sure about that. Dr. Uju Anya did not steal trillions of dollars worth of natural resources. Uju Anya is not your problem. So for them to even invade, I mean, you don't invade a place where they had nothing. You have to invade somewhere because you see potential in them. You see something that you want. You cannot just go and invade a desert because you know that this is a desert. It's dry. There's nothing there. So for you to invade somewhere, you must have something they have that you want. So regardless of whether we want to think that these people brought in civilization, they brought in hospitals, they brought in the church, there is also an element of pain that is not being addressed. Somebody said something that, yes, there is pain there. There is pain, especially Biafrans. When our parents tell a story about Biafran War, it always comes from a place of hurt, a place of pain, a place of trauma. And we grew up with that. We carry that. When you hear about Biafra agitations, this is unaddressed trauma, unaddressed pain that has not been acknowledged. We talk about slavery, and when you talk about slave trade, Britain is on the cheer table of this whole thing. But one thing I've realized is the importance of telling your story. That is the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying Nigeria, we've had our independence for God knows how long, and we still have the same problem. We're not going to keep blaming Britain for our problem. That shouldn't take away from the conversation that something happened that needs to be addressed. Don't let people tell your story, because people are going to tell your story the way they want to tell it. People are going to tell your story how they will come out looking great in the whole thing. If you look at this whole slave trade and everything, Britain came out at the top. Why? It's not because they didn't sell people. It's not like they didn't colonize people, but because they tell their story, the narrative, they control the narrative their own way, and it made them look like heroes instead of what he actually is or was. So tell your story, know your history, tell your story. How many years after independence, we still blame Britain, we still blame the Queen, we still blame, the West, we still blame. It's just a blame game. Everybody's just dishing out blame to who they want. We have a problem in Africa, it was the colonial master. We have a problem in Africa, our leaders are, still under the colonial regime. So it's just, I think we need an overhaul of just teaching our children the truth, teaching them history, so that when they grow up, it's not about a family telling their daughter that England supported Nigeria to defeat Biafrans, and that is what they're going to run with. Whether that is true or that is not true, that is what they will run with. But if they go to school and there is a comprehensive history lessons where you know where you're coming from, you know why the how your people even participated in that slave trade. Because listen, England, yeah, they came in and they colonized us, but with the help of our people. So it was a partnership, whether you like it or not. Some people partnered with them to make all those things happen. So I think we should all just sit down, think of ways to bring history back into schools so that people know where they come from. People know what happened. People know the roles that each and every player played. So when you're blaming somebody, you're going to know why you're blaming that person. So that is all I have to say for today. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. So if you have any comments, please leave me a comment in the comment section. I'd like to know, did you learn history in school? I'm a millennial, so I don't even think listen, if I'm a millennial and I did not do history in school, what about Gen Zs? Like, and these are people that are going to give birth to generations of children that would not even know where they're coming from. So how do we fix this problem? How do we do that? Leave me a comment in the comment section. I don't know. This is just my views and my opinion. I'd like to hear yours. And thank you very much for watching today's episode. Bye-bye.